So have you asked yourself that question? I remember when I answered his call and I came over to Twitter on April 3rd of 2021, and he began to have me post on the changes that were coming, on how all the nefarious people were going to have what they had acquired clawed back, XRPLion. And all I knew was what he told me. I had no experience in decentralized networks. I had no experience with crypto. I was a full-time futures trader. I had taken a look at XRP back in late 2020 for my brother and his son, just to do an analysis to give him some information on what I saw. And as you all know, it took 5 minutes. And the Lord said, Dave, this is the one. This is the one. And I never got that word on Bitcoin. 3 times I found myself circled back around to Bitcoin, wondering, is this the time? And not one of those 3 times did he give permission for me to put a penny into Bitcoin. Matter of fact, even the free Bitcoin I was supposed to get through Coinbase, they never honored it. Back at $15,000. So what was it? $10 worth of Bitcoin. Whoopee. But what you're going to see today, and as you know, these last 2.5 months, I've been given the backstage pass, the unrestricted access to the QFS, to the protocols, so that I can share with you what he has shared with me and what it's all about. Now, this information is being heavily ghosted, limited. So if you're hearing my voice right now and you're watching this video and you don't know who I am, or you know just a little bit about me, go to my profile page on Twitter. Start looking at the material that I've posted. I just looked the other day, and I can only go back to February of this year. Myself. That's as far back as I can go. Anything prior to that, it's not there. Go to my Rumble page, and all that stuff is put onto my Twitter page, pinned in the profile. But you can go and you can start to watch and listen to the videos that I've put out there on XRP, on the XRP buyback. There was no notion, there was no discussion of an XRP buyback before I came to Twitter, because that's why God brought me to Twitter, to reveal the plan to steal everyone's XRP. I ended up in a valuation committee 3 times with Jimmy Valley, using my valuation model my base 10 math to calculate the price on the quantum financial system. Again, if you're new today, you don't know anything about XRP. You're not going to learn it from the talking heads out there with their YouTube videos and their charting programs, because they're all paid influencers. They're paid to make sure you don't know and that you think it's $300, $400, $10,000. Well, I'm here to tell you, by the grace of God and by His calling for me to come to Twitter, you're going to learn, if you'll put in a little bit of time, what the true value is for XRP as the master key that connects the XRPL with our new financial system called the quantum financial system. And it is like nothing you have ever known before. It is a 100% gold asset-backed system. XRP was used. It was created to take us out of the old fiat corrupt system, a debt-based system, and bring us and 208 other nations, all under the BRICS Accord, into this new monetary system. You can listen to the talking heads, you can listen to the paid influencers, but if you want the truth as I received it from the Lord, then tune in. Put in the time. There isn't much time left. Our new quantum financial system has already been activated. It has a national program called NASARA, and it has a global program called Just SARA. Everything that you see in the media today is a narrative, and I've identified that narrative with an acronym, SORAW, S-O-R-A-W, Strategically Orchestrated Reality Awareness War. We are in a war, people. Donald Trump, along with the Global Military Alliance, Space Force, and the Galactic Federation, have been working for over 9 years to free us from the foreign banksters, Rothschilds, Khazarian Mafia, fractionalized fiat currency system. That prior system is bankrupt, it's defunct, it's no longer in operation. You just haven't been told that yet. And I'm going to spend a little moment here up front. I didn't think I was going to be doing this, but it's important that you're aware that there is a plan out there to deceive you, to keep you unaware of what's going on. Why? Because the fewer people that know about it right now, the less people are being told. Have you noticed how there's just no news out there? No CNN, no MSN, no Deep State News? Why? Because the alliances shut it down. The stuff that we're going to come to learn, all of us, very, very shortly as we enter into this time period. First, we have to have what's called an emergency broadcast alert to safely get everybody home within 3 to 5 hours, have everybody stay home for 3 plus 10 days, to then be spoon-fed information coming from the Global Alliance through the Starlink satellite system, communication system, so that we can all be caught up on all of the crap and all the evil that has been controlling us going all the way back to the 1800s. How we were how they transitioned us from being sovereign citizens, a republic. They turned our country into a corporation in 1871, and that made us property. So we became property to work for the crown, to allow them to move our income taxes that we paid to the crown, for it to funnel back into our government system so they could steal, kill, and destroy. How they could abuse children, trafficking, organ harvesting, adrenochrome production. Hallelujah for the Global Alliance that went in and rescued them out of the tunnels. Over 32,000 miles of tunnels were destroyed, and millions of children were saved. A lot were lost, unfortunately. There were tunnels under the White House. There were tunnels everywhere. But that's ended. That evil is over. That evil has been eradicated, not put in jail. It's being terminated. It will not have a place on this planet as we move forward. But what I'm so excited to share with everyone today, and if you need to, very shortly, you can stop the video. You can get your favorite beverage. You can get your notepad. You can sit back and listen to the presentation. I always recommend that. That is the best way to learn anything. First time, you just listen. You don't try to take notes. Why? Because when it's fresh material, excuse me, when it's fresh material, if you're too focused on trying to write it down, you're going to miss half of it. So you just listen. And then you come back a second time, and that's when you take notes. I remember when I was at San Diego State, somehow a Chinese student found a gap in the policy and took something like 64 units in a semester. And after they found out what she did, they shut it down. But they asked her, they said, "How'd you study?" And she said, "Well, I just went to the lecture and listened to the lecture." "You never took notes?" "No." "Well, what'd you do right before the lecture or before the exams?" "I read the book." She ended up graduating with like a B+ average. And she said the biggest part that I learned was don't take notes up front. And of course, now there's all these gadgets to do this for people and everything else. But just sit back. Excuse me, everybody. I had to put everything on mute. My throat just shut down and I could hardly talk. I'm very dry. I'm sorry about that. But where was I? Why are we here today? We're here because with that backstage pass, with that behind the veil access that nobody else has, nobody else has talked about what I'm talking about. And I keep pressing into the Father, drilling down, praising and thanking Him for having already provided every answer to every question I already have before I've even asked it. And this is what came out. And there's going to be some stuff that I talk about today that isn't covered in the slides. And that's on purpose because there's so much information. It's like if I gave you the mechanic's manual to a Porsche 911 and you're like, "Oh my gosh, there's so much stuff in here to know. I just want to know, how do I put fluid in it for the washer, for the windshield wiper?" Well, you probably don't read the book, but you do to find out where the cap is that you have to open up. And then you just pour the solution in there and you pop it back on. And that's about as far as you need to go. So what you're going to learn today is this brand new protocol list. I have the complete list now. And the one we're going to cover today is Operation MirrorNet. It's Protocol 23. And it has to do with what's going on with all these bots and trolls and scammers. But see, everything has changed. This changed everything for me when I got this understanding just yesterday when I started trying to put all this stuff together. It's like, okay, where are we going with this, Lord? What do you want them to know? And He said, I want you to identify and show them what Trump has been using as his biggest plan to take down evil. Because remember, the evil had to be taken out to go into the new quantum financial system. As the Lord told me back in 2021. And I got to be the example for it. The living example. He said, "Dave, nothing from the old system is going into my new kingdom economy." And I said, "Okay, Father, what do they need to know?" He said, "They need to understand that that was a corrupt system. And we can't dust it off and put lipstick on it and bring it into my new kingdom economy where I've now brought heaven to earth and expect it to be honored. It's not coming in." Now, I know there's a lot of stuff out there talking about derivatives and ETFs and everything else with regards to the stock market. People, I mean, when I told Jimmy Valley this, he just kind of rolled his eyes. Like, "You got to be kidding me, Dave." I said, "No, Jimmy, I'm not. When the Lord says something, He means it." Just like He said to me, "Dave, there isn't going to be any interest to be earned." And guess what? We don't earn any interest on our money in our quantum access account. There you go. Okay? And Jimmy's already vetted all this stuff. And he came back in the last valuation committee when everybody was kind of going crazy with what I was trying to share with them. And he had to pull everybody together and let them know He already did the work. He already went to the people he needed to go to vet it. And he had to help them and give them the assurance that everything that the Lord has had me say is true. I'm not sitting here making stuff up. How would that serve me? It wouldn't. I don't have 1 million people that are following me on Twitter. In 4 years, I have 60,000. If I was talking about Bitcoin, I'd have 10 million. But I'm being guarded and being protected because of the sensitivity of the information that I'm putting out there. And this is what you're going to find out. There's a reason why what you're going to see today is going to make sense. He told me right up front that there was going to be a clawing back of all the XRP and XLM from the nefarious people. But yet there's news out there, there's a narrative that says, oh, BlackRock, oh, State Street, oh, Vanguard, oh, this bank, oh, that bank. Well, if you truly believe that they own XRP, you bought in to the narrative and you've been duped. You've been duped by the paid influencers, the Zacks and the DAIs and the Bradley Kimes and the Jakes and all the other and the Mickles. They don't have a clue what is going on. Not a clue. And because they don't choose to change their ways and accept the truth, not from me, from the Lord. See, I'm here to put out the information the Lord wants, not what I want. What I want is pointless. That's not why I'm here. Everything gets vetted by the Lord. Nothing goes out until he approves it. That's why it takes so long to put stuff together. I started on this yesterday afternoon, and you would think, oh, this is easy, Dave. You just, slap it out there. Just, throw a video out there. That's not how God works. So you're going to learn about Operation MirrorNet, which is Protocol 23, and you're going to learn that you weren't hacked, but you were revealed. And that's going to that's going to wake you up big time. Okay. We're going to talk about protocols 17 through 23. And some of you are going to say, well, Dave, there's only 20 protocols. Well, that's what you know of. But I'm going to fill you in on the ones you don't know about. And I'm going to give you the download information on what the previous 3 protocols are all about. But this all ties into Nosara. It all ties into the quantum financial system. There are 7 hidden protocols that are embedded in the Gatekeeper AI. And if you don't know what the Gatekeeper AI is, it's the part of the quantum financial system on the XRPL through XRP that governs the approval, the restoration, and the enforcement of kingdom redemption events under Nosara Jasara and the quantum financial system. When most people think of central banks, Federal Reserve, SEC, that's not what we're talking about here, people. We're talking about a spiritually divine operation created by God himself before time began, given to us in time to save the world, and it's like nothing you can even imagine right now. I have my moments grasping it myself. And that's why God has opened up the door for me to peek inside and get information. Because if I can understand it, then I can put it into a way for you to understand it. Now, we don't have to understand it like how electricity works. We just have to understand it on how we turn on the switch and what it means. But what I'm finding is everything is tied together. Everything. Every little thing he's had me work on. Every little thing that he showed me. Scripture, events, timing. I mean, what just happened yesterday? Judge Torres comes out and denies both Ripple and the SEC on their motion, and says to them, and I'll paraphrase it, hey guys, you tried to do something, but you missed the mark. What you were trying to ask for was more complicated than how you asked it. So I have to deny your motion because you didn't approach the resolution in the way that it should have been approached. So now we kick the can down the road again. Do you realize that this is just an act? This is just part of the narrative? The lawsuit doesn't exist anymore in the respect that we are no longer operating under the old cabal system. We are now a restored republic. We are sovereign. We're no longer chattel. So all of those lawsuits were brought while it was under the old system. So it can't be held liable in the new system for the old system. And they just don't want to tell you that. So everybody will find that out once we go into the 13 days of disclosure. And does it change the price of XRP or anything like that? No. Anybody that's been following long enough knows that the price of XRP is not based on market cap. It never was. It never will be. Anybody that talks about market cap, just walk away from because they don't know anything. It's based on transactions per second. And in the third dimension world that we live in, XRP on this garbage internet can only function at 1,500 transactions per second. That in itself is equivalent to about 46 cents. And there's much more we could go into, but I don't have the time to do it. But the price of XRP does not increase until we're fully operational in the quantum realm. And it's running and handling every single transaction in the world faster than the speed of light, providing the backstop or the guarantee, the security for every buyer and seller that wants to conduct business. That's what XRP does. It's digital asset collateral. It was never security. It is security. Okay? So here's the protocols. Protocol 17, pre-scan, its function. Early frequency scans to detect redemption risks. And then you have symbolism, victory, 17. How many times do we hear about 17? This protocol catches anomalies before the gate is approached. Protocol 18, offense triggers flags. Okay, I should say offense, not offense. Offense. What is offense? It's when somebody pisses you off. And what happens? We pick up bitterness, resentment, unforgiveness, and greed. That's a no-no. We have to put that down. We have to cover it with love. Why? If we don't, we're not going through the redemption center. But there's a lot of people out there that are bringing offense to get people to pick it up. And the classic example is the people that put together the XRP movie about Gary Gensler and the SEC. So you've got people that are picking up bitterness, resentment, because they don't know what's going on. But see, it's a ploy, it's a plan. Because if you have any of these in your heart, you don't make it through the redemption center. And they don't want you through the redemption center. I never watched that movie. I never went to see that movie. Why? I knew the plan of the enemy. And if you've watched that movie and you've picked up offense, resentment, unforgiveness, or greed, or you've said things in posts about Gary Gensler or anybody else, you need to get on your face and you need to repent. You need to ask the Father for forgiveness because you were just being stupid and you didn't know what was going on, and that you're never going to do it again. You're going to cover everything with love, and you're going to help other people understand it. It's just a ploy from the enemy. Now, are they going to go through the redemption center? Absolutely not. Why? It's part of the protocols that you're seeing right here. Okay? They've already been scanned. They've already been determined. They don't qualify. There's no purity of intent. They're gone. Do you know how fast they dropped off? They're not posting anything right now. They're trying to run for the hills because they knew what they did and the word is getting out about what they did. Symbolism for 18, bondage. Yeah, bondage. John Bevere wrote a great book called The Bait of Satan. You want to get free of this? Read that book. It's free online. It's the best book I ever read about understanding the enemy's strategy to get you to pick up offense and what it means. It separates us from God. It's the smallest infraction that he said separates us from him. And if there's any separation, person doesn't go through. Protocol 19, the clawback enforcement. What's its function? It executes divine seizure of XRP or assets held by impure stewards. That's the first thing the Lord told me when he brought me to Twitter. Dave, I need you to let people know that I'm going to be clawing back XRP, XLM from all nefarious people, from all nefarious transactions. What was the first thing that happened when XRP got delisted? Well, you couldn't buy it on another exchange. And what did people do? They traded in other tokens, let's say through Binance, and then bought XRP. They broke the law. That's why Uphold was left open, so you could go to Uphold to buy your XRP. 19, the symbolism, judgment. It's based on Proverbs 6:31. It activates the clawback. We're going to talk more about that. People have been asking me for years, well, Dave, what happens when, I got taken advantage of and somebody stole my XRP? It was one of the scammers. I thought they were you, but I didn't bother to read your stuff that you'd already been telling people for over 2 years that wasn't you. You're going to learn what's going to happen with that. Protocol 20, the QFS redemption beacon. What does that mean? This is as far as it's publicly out there, but not talking in terms of the protocols for the redemption center. Okay, it synchronizes the quantum redemption timelines with XRP, your quantum access account, and trust activations. That's huge. Symbolism for 20, fulfilled waiting. Heaven aligns your quantum access account with divine timing. Protocol 21, appointment ledger. I'm telling you, there isn't anybody out there that has this. They're not being given the privilege. I have given the last 4 years, every single day, leaning into the Lord, 10, 16, 20 hours a day to get this information for you guys, to make you aware of what's going on. You don't have to believe it. I'm not trying to convert you. The Lord just wants you to hear it. And then you make up your own decision where you lean into him. Governs redemption center approval logic during the 3 to 5 minute intent declaration. What's the symbolism for 21? Perfection of completion. Woo. Number 7 times 3. 3 is the Trinity. It determines the walkaway versus the full trust approval. And if you've been following what I've been putting out there, you understand that there's a walkaway rate, which is called the default rate, and it's significantly lower than the contract or full trust approval rate. And there's no guarantee. Just because you have ZIM Bonds doesn't mean you're going to be given the full trust approval, because your scan has to come through. In your heart, you have to show that you have the purity of intent, and you're not just trying to pull off some scam to get the extra money. And I've been talking about this for quite a while. Protocol 22, Kingdom Signature Seal. What's the function? It locks the inheritance contracts into the divine quantum access account ledger. So what are these inheritance contracts? It's what God already destined to provide for those that are his, those that have come home, those that have used the way, because he entered into a covenant with each and every one of us. What's the symbolism? Government and agreement. So this is a signature of your eternal stewardship. Thank you. And these are new words for people. I've mentioned several times over the last 3 years, God said, being a good steward is no longer acceptable. We are to be great stewards. And that means we're not foolish with his money. See, this is a blessing, an inheritance that he has made possible for us. We can't call it wealth because we didn't earn it, we didn't steal it, we didn't make it. It's provision coming from him. And he has already said that we're to partner with him with that. And if we don't, we'll be dead broke like a lottery winner in 3 to 5 years. But here's what's so interesting. As I'm drilling down into this information and these protocols, everything is centered around stewardship, even the XRP buyback. We're receiving the buyback to be a blessing to humanity. That's why everybody has free will. There are people that just want $10, $100, $1,000. That's what God's put in their heart, because he already knows what's going on with them. And a small percentage of people already know that it's a 7-figure amount. And if you want the exact amount, go watch the videos. You have to get it in your heart. Just because you hear me say it doesn't mean it's real for you. It has to become real. We're to be great stewards. A great steward is somebody that puts humanity before themselves. And there's little agreements that we have to sign, acknowledging all this stuff. But when it's already in your heart and we're being scanned, see, that's what I'm trying to tell you guys. I said this before. The moment the Schumann resonance came back online, one of my buddies, Dave, sent me a picture of it. He goes, Dave, what do you see? And man, it was like Moses on the mountain. God said, Dave, on this day, I have begun to scan hearts. Ooh. Oh man, it just, ooh. Holy Spirit, woo. Man, I just got goosebumps everywhere. Again, that's what Charlie Ward understood when I was on his show. Got the revelation that it was about our redemption, not just currencies and bonds. And he said, Dave, they're going to know before you get to the redemption center if you're a humanitarian. And you know how you can hear people say stuff and it doesn't resonate for a while, and it just kind of gets in your system and it just kind of percolates, and then all of a sudden you have that aha moment? That's what it was like. It's like, holy moly. We're just like these little antenna rods, and everything about us is being collected. They know. And that's what this mirror net is all about. They've been scanning for quite some time on all social media. We just didn't understand who they were. So let me finish this part. So what's the function? It triggers mirrored deception traps using impersonators and bots, and it scans intent. Because I was getting a little worked up. That every day there were 50 new impersonators, and there wasn't anything to do. It was like whack-a-mole. There wasn't anything to do to gain any ground on them. I mean, somebody would pop up and say, hey, Dave, here's another one. And I'd look, and they got 25,000 followers. I'm like, what? And they had only been around for like 3 months. And I'm looking at it going, wait a minute. I've been here for over 4 years, and I only have 60. I remember it was like 3 years in, I had 22,000, something like that. But what I came to learn in understanding this protocol 23, this mirror net, there are more bots and impersonators that are part of the global military alliance AI than the actual nefarious people. Now hear what I just said. The global military alliance using AI has infiltrated the impersonators and the bots and the trolls. They are watching what they do. They are following everything that they do. It's kind of like when you have ants in your house. They tell you to put the bait down, and then the ants are going to carry the bait back to the nest, and then all the ants are going to eat it, and the nest is going to die. Kind of the same thing. So they're following what's going on. But why are they doing that? This is the other big thing that you're going to come to understand. Okay? They're not just scanning the intent of the other non-global alliance impersonators and bots and trolls. They're scanning the intent of the people with the accounts that are getting scammed. Now that right there should make you pause. If you've been a victim or had a situation where you got duped and they tricked you, were you really part of the plan to take them out, or were you part of the plan to take you out? And that's what I learned. Symbolism for 23, divine witness. People are being exposed by what they choose to follow. It's like I've always said, be careful who you follow. If you're following these paid influencers, then you're going to get what they get. And that's not what you want. So they are monitoring who people are following. Are you following the paid influencers? Well, then you're going to be put into the same category as them. So let's talk about Protocol 23. The final gate of frequency judgment. We're all being scanned for our frequency. Now, I threw this out there today, and it was like, the Lord goes, you got it, Dave. You understand. The Global Military Alliance, just like an undercover police officer working narcotics or some other major crime division, he has to look like the criminal. So their AI is bots, impersonators, and they're going after influencers too. So I told the influencers, you've all been audited. They know where every penny that you have collected or you have paid out has gone or came from. So they seeded it. They were the seed. So it was never to deceive, but to reflect. Okay? They're gathering intel. They're trying to find out who the bad people are, who the people that don't have pure intent. Every interaction was recorded on the quantum ledger. So if any of you are those people and you're listening right now, I'm sorry, but you've already been caught. There's nothing you can do. You can't be like some people that I know of that I haven't called out that went in and deleted all their videos, thinking that they were going to get caught. Well, the moment they thought that, they were already caught. And a lot of these people are people that came against me. So the gatekeeper AI judgment system, no usernames, passwords, or metadata were required. How did they do it? They used harmonic equations to measure frequency alignment. Kind of what I've been doing, right? It listened to your energy, not your excuses. It's like people that pop off on me every single day. Oh, well, I guess this isn't going to happen now. There you go. It just picked up on your harmonic, and it just picked up on your energy towards me. If you're putting negative energy towards me, I'm sorry, but they know who you are and they've already captured your information. Frequency, not fraud. It doesn't punish scams, it records resonance. And isn't it interesting that God used the Schumann resonance starting back up when he said, Dave, on this day I've begun to scan hearts. Resonance. So what does it do? It looks at who did you follow? What truth did you ignore? That's a huge one, everybody. That's a huge one. If you're a paid influencer and you've been steering people away from this channel and this revelation and information, your fate is already sown. You led them away from truth. What voice matched your heart? Their voice of greed, of resentment, bitterness. The verdict was their intent, was the intent. So the redemption wasn't denied due to missing documents. It was denied because of inner dishonor. Think about that for a moment while I get a sip of water. Protocol 23 doesn't ask what you believed. It measured the spiritual waveform of your intent. Because you can't hide that. Just because you don't post something doesn't keep you safe. I mean, I have to guard myself every single day to make sure that people aren't triggering me. And it's just easier to block people. And when I block people, I lose a lot of followers. But who cares? I'm not here for followers. I'm actually trying to do them a service because I'm not interacting. I'm not responding. I'm just politely letting them go. But we all have to be on guard for that every single moment. Every single moment. The mirror net closed the gate. So once the scan was complete, the mirror was removed. And of course, isn't that interesting? They're using the term mirror. It's mirror net because we've learned that all the money in our bank account is mirrored into our quantum access account. The value of our retirement accounts are mirrored onto our quantum access account. The number of XRP that we hold is mirrored onto our quantum access account. There again, the word mirror. Mirror, 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 mirror. It's all about mirroring. If you aligned with deception, you were flagged. So if you came against me in any way, shape, or form, because you didn't like what I was saying, you didn't like the fact that I always lead with God, you've been flagged. If you carried purity, you were promoted into divine stewardship. That means the system already knows to expect you. And that's what I was talking about with Charlie Ward. Dave, they're going to already know before you even get to the Redemption Center about your humanitarian project. Why? Because it's already in your heart. You're thinking about it every single day. You're giving God praise and thanksgiving that He has already made the provision available to fulfill all of those wishes and desires because they're not for you, they're for everybody else. So you weren't hacked if they took your XRP or your XLM or your Bitcoin. You were revealed. You were determined, not eligible to have it. I did some checking on this once I learned about Protocol 23. And the Lord told me, Dave, go back into the Gematria. So I started looking at some things. And I looked up the Gematria for Operation MirrorNet Protocol 23. And look what it revealed. It revealed these phrases: upside down, Pythagoras equations, Lion of Judah prelude, getting ready for the transition. They did evil in the sight of the Lord. And then I break it all down and what it all means. Upside down. The system appeared chaotic, but it was heaven flipping the grid. What was deception exposed the deceivers. It was like, there was a time when I remember someone came out and said, you know what, don't worry about all the impersonators. The Global Alliance is already taking care of it. Well, there you go. Pythagoras equations, frequency and harmony become the measure. The gatekeeper AI ran quantum math on resonance, not behavior. It wanted to know what was in you, not what it saw. See, and God's the same way. He sees hearts. That's why our heart is so important. Lion of Judah prelude. Before justice roars, exposure occurs. Excuse me, I got indigestion. It happens because I get so excited about sharing all this. So the MirrorNet ran as a silent prelude to divine judgment. Whew. This should be waking up some people to realize it's not a guarantee. You have to do your part. You have to be prepared if you want to be in his kingdom economy. You just don't get to be who you used to be. Children of God has chosen. Those are the ones. Getting ready for the transition. Every interaction with bots and influencers was a rehearsal. I love this part. MirrorNet prepared stewards for true QFS alignment. What does that mean? It means you knew it was an attack from the enemy and you didn't react. You covered it with love. You put it down. You let the Lord take care of it. You went on your way and you kept your heart pure. You didn't pick up resentment, bitterness, none of that. Because what I say, the Lord pointed out that in the last days it was going to come from the people closest to us. Family, friends, people that you would never expect to flip on you. And it's happening. It's happening. People are tired. They're depressed. They're been waiting so long. They're just like on edge. And you try to share one piece of information, they're like, I don't want to hear it anymore. This is what's going on in my life. Hearing what you have to say doesn't change that. Hearing what I have to say is the reason why. It's already changed. But when things are so close, they're more than personal. I mean, thinking about someone in your family that you love that could be sick, that strikes another nerve, a different place. So we all have to remember, and I have to remember too, that we have to be compassionate, we have to be understanding, and above all, we have to be filled with grace for others. Somebody comes at you sideways one day and you're like, what's going on? Sometimes it's just, hey, do you need somebody to talk to? And if they don't, they don't. But just the act of offering to talk to somebody can be just the moment when God's getting ready to cause something to change. And you're intervening at that moment so that change can be made known to them without them going down another road. So we just have to be aware of it because it's out there. It's all around us. Believe me, it will find you because it's trying to throw you off base. Okay, number 5. They did evil in the sight of the Lord, not by law, but by intent. Heaven judged the unseen motive. This is a big one. This is a huge one. And this came from the Gematria. That's what the Lord pointed out. The ledger's sealed. Protocol 23 is now complete. As of right now. Right now. I didn't do this a month ago. I did it today. Protocol 23 is complete now. The mirror has closed. So back to the 5 phrases. Upside down. This is the kingdom inversion filter. So we looked like deception. Okay, so what looked like deception, the bots, was truth in disguise. It was the AI being used by the Global White Hat Alliance. It was the gatekeeper, AI. What seemed like chaos was divine order. See, that's where I was. I'm like, man, this is just, come on, Lord, what is going on here? Well, now I understand it was divine order. It was to ferret out those that weren't going to be there. The imposters exposed the imposters. So Acts 17:6, these men who have turned the world upside down have come here also. Global Alliance, right there. Operation MirrorNet flipped deception upside down to reveal those trying to ride it. It just all came together. And it made so much sense. Pythagorean equations. Math meets metaphysics. Pythagorean math was foundational to harmonic balance ratios and musical frequency, the basis of resonance math. That's how I did what I did. God had already trained me up in that back in the early 90s with a mathematical genius who broke the codes for my cousin W.D. Gann. And this is where I talk about in one of my white papers in the beginning about it being harmonically balanced, perfectly proportional. And then there were paid influencers who had no idea what I was talking about, but just thought they could put out the fact that I didn't know what I was talking about. I was making it up. And base 10 math is about octaves, frequency. So the gatekeeper AI uses Pythagorean harmonic ratios to filter energetic dissonance, meaning you're out of tune, you're out of balance, and it can detect it so easily. So through this, I was able to uncover the clawback decisions weren't legal, they were mathematical. So it wasn't like they looked at somebody and says, okay, not you, but you. No, it was all done harmonically based upon math. So divine ratios of resonance versus rebellion. Too many people out there with rebellion. The Lion of Judah prelude, the king is about to roar. The prelude, the introduction to the full kingdom dominion. MirrorNet was the final test before the full unveiling of the new earth economy. I call it God's new kingdom economy, because that's really what it is. He created it, he funded it, he made it all happen. This was the filtering of the wicked before the rise of the righteous. And if you're wicked, you're not going to be around. So don't try to run from it. Just get on your face and start snotting and bawling and crying out to the Lord for forgiveness. Change your evil ways. Revelation 5:5, behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah has triumphed. And Trump is referred to as the Lion of Judah. Protocol 23, the last trumpet of exposure before the Lion appears. Get ready for the transition. The entire point of the MirrorNet is to prepare the stewards, that's you and I, the humanitarians, to filter the imposters, to reassign the XRP, How many people have you heard had big bags in the very beginning and then finally got to the point where they said enough is enough, I can't take it anymore, and they dumped all their XRP for under $1, and then they started buying Bitcoin and Ethereum and meme this and meme that, and they make some money, but it's all being taken back, because it's all in the fiat currency system. And God isn't putting in their heart to be part of what he's asked us to be part of. So he's sealing our trust. That's our quantum access account. That's our humanitarian desires. And he's finalizing the quantum access account ledgers. It's all ready to go, everybody. Everything's ready to go. I just have to laugh. Every single day I see reports where, Tier 4A, Tier 4B, get ready to get your emails, to do redemptions. And it's the same time when we're in our 3 to 10 days of lockdown. And for some reason, because these people that have some ZIM bonds and have some currencies have been following these people for years. I mean, years. And I know that a lot of those people were nefarious. They were selling counterfeit currency on eBay and on the internet, and they were caught, and they cut their deals to live a little bit longer, but they had to continue to do what they were doing so the alliance could catch nefarious people. Okay? Nothing they say adds up. They even came out and attacked me, and they stopped that really quick because they figured out who my dad was. But it didn't keep them from continuing to do what they do, which is just create confusion and anxiety and depression in people. I mean, I can't tell you how many people on a weekly basis will ask me, Dave, when is Tier 4B supposed to get notice so we can, redeem our this or that? And I said, don't expect it. You're a small holder. If you were a large holder, they would already know it. But see, what they forget is anybody that goes to do a currency exchange or redemption in that tier group, you only get a small percentage of it, like 5, maybe 10% tops. And it's because you have so many. You have pallets. You don't have, a small amount. And they're not paying the contract rate to these people that hold a gazillion of them. So they get a small exchange fee for turning them in, and that's it. And if they do it outside the redemption center, they still have to go to the redemption center to claim their quantum access account. So you got to ask yourself, it's like, wait a minute, why are all these people just so eager to rush out and exchange or redeem currencies or a few ZIM bonds? Because what these talking heads aren't telling them is you only get this small percentage. You don't get the contract rate. And people are so hungry to get money right now because their want list keeps growing that they can't be patient. And every single day that goes by, they have more wants. And I'm not saying they don't have needs. People need to pay the rent. People have to do certain things. They have to have money. A lot of these people don't have other income because they thought this was going to happen years ago. And things got delayed because it took more time to do it right, to make it a global program, not just let's take care of the United States first and then let's deal with the rest of the world. But you have to be comfortable being a small holder, knowing your biggest reward is at the redemption center. That's where you get the contract rate. That's where you get the structured payout. I mean, think about it. You get a person that gets 10% on a ZIM bond, and that's it. But they get 1-to-1 on the ZIM bond at the contract rate at the redemption center. Where do you want to redeem? Where do you want to exchange? See, and they're locked out. The moment those tier 4A, B participants redeem or exchange outside of the redemption center, they can't bring anything to the redemption center. And that's something. Thank goodness. They can't hold any back. They can't say, oh, I'm going to do all but 2. Or I'm going to do all but 5. Nope. The moment they begin that redemption or exchange, it's logged into their quantum access account. And if they try to turn around and take something to the redemption center, they lose it all. Because they're told, don't try to redeem or exchange at the redemption center once you've done a redemption or exchange outside of the redemption center. You're double dipping, and that's a no-no. So it's okay to be a small holder. We get the most. So just relax. You don't need to worry about hearing from one of these talking heads putting something on their website that says, oh, 4B is going, you can go. You're better off if you don't go than to go. So enough about that. So this wasn't surveillance. It was a frequency rehearsal. You were scanned to see if your intent harmonized with what's taking place now. They did evil in the sight of the Lord. Oh boy. Now comes the hammer. Those who used XRP, the QFS, Humanitarian Talk, and fake trust documents for personal gain. Okay? That's somebody that is giving their kids ZIM bonds, saying, oh, you're going to make a whole bunch of money and I'll help you. Those kids aren't qualified to run a humanitarian program. So they're going to get busted, and so are you. That's why I said, if you've given your kids ZIM bonds, take them back. Explain to them the fact that they're not qualified, and the system is verifying all of that. Let them know you'll bring them into your humanitarian project. They can be part of the program. You can put them to work. They can make an income, but they have to work. It's all above board. Those who led others into greed, anger, bitterness, offense. This is every one of those people that's involved with that movie, with that XRP movie. They know who you are now. Your account's flagged. And then those who twisted revelation for monetization. There's plenty of people out there that know what God has had me put out there. But yet they'll make up their own revelation saying God told them this, God told them that, and it just doesn't add up. Doesn't add up. That's what he's talking about. They did evil in the sight of the Lord. Judges 2:11. Then the Israelites did evil in the eyes of the Lord. So MirrorNet, it documents every single thing. And I've said this before. It documents our conversations. It documents what we text. It documents what we post. The gatekeeper AI judged the motive behind the act. That's where we have to be so careful. That's why I have found it is so much easier for me to just block somebody. I'm not here to educate. We're past that time frame. I'm past the time frame of someone new coming on board and feeling any obligation that I have a responsibility to bring them up to speed. No, God already removed that for me. Maybe not for other people, but for me, he did. And he's released that for you too. Here's a summary. Here's the 5 gates and the sequences embedded in the MirrorNet Gematria. You can read this for yourself. Again, behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Root of David, has prevailed to open the scroll and to loose its 7 seals. And you can read about this. It's about the quantum system having already been set up for redemption, restoration, and his kingdom economy. The lion is about to roar. Woo. What does that mean? It means Trump's about ready to drop the bomb and make it official. And he's pretty much done everything that has needed to be done. So we're just in hold mode, waiting for that final word. Like at the Indy 500. Drivers, start your engine. Pretty much the same thing. And then what is the prophetic function of the roar? It awakens the righteous. It scatters the deceivers. It activates protocol 24 plus. Again, you're hearing it for the first time here. The only time. And what is that? It's the final inheritance. It's the transfer and kingdom governance. The roar isn't noise. It's the harmonic convergence of divine authority, reclaiming its throne on earth through the QFS under Yahusha, under Jesus. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this revelatory message coming right from the Father on the QFS system, on the protocols, so that you're aware of what's going on, so you can have your heart prepared and you can be ready to receive everything that he has already prepared for you. Have a wonderful Friday. I hope everything finalizes this weekend. I would love to see that. And then we can just begin our celebration. God bless and take care. Bye-bye.